Hi, this is Dr. Joe Luciani, and I'd like to talk to you about liberating yourself from destructive eating habits. It may help to start out with a saying by Sun Tzu in The Art of War: know your enemy. In order not to be victimized by impulses, cravings, misperceptions, or just mindless destructive eating, you're going to find it's imperative to know and pay attention to your enemies. Let's begin with enemy number one: harmful emotions. Emotions play a major role in destructive eating, whether it's anxiety, depression, panic, irritability, moodiness, and even boredom. Emotions create a kind of internal chaos that compels us to seek the distracting, calming, anesthetic effect of certain foods, especially those go-to comfort foods, those highly palatable, salty, fatty, sugary foods. And there's no question that when it comes to trying to step apart from intense emotions, we're self-medicating with food. It's like alcohol, nicotine, or cannabis. Food has that powerful effect on tense emotions. Enemy number two: adverse circumstances. Adverse circumstances encompass an array of everyday life challenges, big and small. And these challenges often make us feel out of control. But as out of control as we might feel, it's never life circumstances that brings us to our knees. It's how we interpret these circumstances that does. Take, for example, someone having a bad hair day. Well, one person might ignore it completely and not care. Second person might become rather panicky and anxious. Third person might call in sick to work, get depressed, and head straight for the pantry for a binge. So it's not circumstances, it's how we react to those circumstances. Now obviously you can't prevent bad things from happening, but you can control how you react, and that's what's really important. When you're tripped up by life circumstances, it's very easy to lose perspective, to lose confidence and optimism. That's why it's so important to understand that, when we do become disoriented, we're very likely to count on the solace that comes from those go-to comfort foods. So if weight loss is your ambition, then it's very important to be aware of the stressors that are affecting you from adverse circumstances. Enemy number three: destructive habits. Human beings are creatures of habit. Our very survival, in part, is due to our ability to form habits, routines, patterns. Although some habits like touch typing, driving a car, buttoning a shirt or blouse are good. Other habits like lethargy, becoming a couch potato, worry, rumination, these are habits. Or it's simply watching TV while you eat. You see, habits have the ability to hold you and your intentions hostage. So being able to recognize what you do, when you do it, and why you do it is really critical to breaking the stranglehold that destructive habits have on your life. And it's also crucial for you to realize that all habits are learned, and all habits can be broken. Let's take, for instance, yo-yo dieting. Whether it's calories or carbs, it doesn't matter. What happens on a diet as you begin to drift further and further away from your destructive eating and now maintain your good posture on your diet, like a rubber band, you become stretched more and more. The reason being is because nothing's really changed in your mind. You've lost some pounds, presumably, but you haven't really changed your mindset. So these habits will reassert themselves. They haven't gone anywhere, they've just been suppressed. kind of like a beach ball being held underwater. These habits will now resurface, and the rubber band snaps back, and you are, as they say, off the wagon. Starting today, spend a few seconds before each meal or snack just to go over your enemies. Let's call it your enemy checklist. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Am I feeling unhappy, bored, depressed? What are the circumstances of my life right now? Do I have a bad day today? Am I discouraged by what happened to my neighbor? And what about any habits that might be setting you up for failure? You see, by going over your enemies, what you're doing is you're developing that critical awareness muscle. And it's the awareness, the mindfulness, that ultimately gives you a choice to choose between destructive, reflexive, knee-jerk eating and mindful, intentional eating. It's like a car. You could drive a car at night with the headlights off, but you're probably going to have a collision. And it's the same with eating. If you aren't aware of your enemies, and if you're not shedding light on those enemies, then you're probably going to have a collision. So begin to embrace the need for this critical awareness, knowing your enemies. And then your weight loss efforts and weight mastery will always be a choice.